this galaxy.
What advice do you seek?
Oh, one step at a time, amidst the madness.
I am at your service. We are the spearhead of the Imperium.
Si le mode affecté avec une capacité sur serviteur, c'est d'accord. Merci.
What lies beyond?
Sometimes the heir is dead. He sacrificed himself.
Rovar, Master Helmsman, systems status report.
By the Emperor. It's the Seneschal. Living and breathing. Oh, well, there's a tricky question. The old place is so overgrown with foul wickedry, we'll be scrubbing it off the vid screens for throne knows how long. Must have been Providence. It better have been the Emperor's, not someone else's. When they barged in here, the ones with the Master of Whispers, some officers charged them, but it wasn't even a fight. I grabbed whoever I could and dragged them behind the cogitators. Then, I prayed for our rescue.
Restore the Vox channel to the Navigator's Sanctum. Ready the crew. Prepare for translation to real space. You may call me superstitious, but translation is not a good time to disregard rules. You are the only one who speaks for House von Valancius. You may not be the Lord Captain, but you, more than anyone else, deserve to take her place in the ritual that is about to commence.
Take the Lord Captain's seat. Order the final preparations. Wait for the officers to report. Oh, blast it all to the void! Translation is a craft, not something that can be explained in a tick. Just go up to the throne, Master. The
Did you stand in the path of another's destiny only to steal it? You accepted the call of the primordial truth and claimed that fate as your own. So be it. I wove the threads of destiny and held out my hand to you when the flame arose in your path. You took it, and in doing so, sealed your fate. In the Indeed, for the boundless truth encompasses all. Merely one part of it reached out to you. And answer you did. You could become the new champion.
The aspirant vowed to return with a trophy. A relic that could serve the edge of daybreak. That fate was assured, and the steps chosen. And yet, you broke the unbreakable when you took the aspirant's place. I see you. On the day when the final dawn rises over the Iron World, I see you by my side on that day. The day...
Your image is woven into the tapestry of things to come. I am the will of the weaver of destinies, and today I will weave a new thread of elusive possibilities and fickle chances. The thread that will lead you out of the maw of irreversibility. The thread that will help you find the keys to salvation. the thread that will guide you, and the weapon of our return to me.
The path is set, child of the dawn. The thread is woven. Follow it, servant of mine.
Seneschal, the navigator's sanctum is silent. The Vox signal is stable, which means...
The navigator gave his life battling the storm that nearly claimed the von Valancius flagship. We will honor his memory, along with that of all who died this day.
Seneschal, we could tell us now. Who is that? Where's the Lord Captain?
As First Officer, it is my duty to inform you with the greatest regret and indelible sorrow that Lord Captain Theodora von Valancius is dead. May her memory never fade from the annals of the dynasty. By right of blood succession, and with the absence of other kin who could challenge this decision,
Par droit de sang dans l'absence d'autre
It is hereby declared that the successor to Theodora von Valancius is her heir, the rightful inheritor of the warrant of trade, and the title of Rogue Trader. The official ascension ceremony will be held at a later time. In the interim, have you lost your tongues? Hail your lord. It is because of his toils that we all still live. The deed is done, Master. My apologies. I meant to say Lord Captain.
Seigneur Capitaine.
The treachery of the Master of Whispers was fruitless, but victory came at a great cost. Lord Captain Theodora von Valancius perished along with her heir, Edelthrad, and thousands of crew members. Yet hope remained. For the second in line to the Rogue Trader dynasty survived. At the cost of many sacrifices made by the Lord Captain in the name of his own ambitions.
cassez-vous. Seigneurie, il y a autre chose. Une affaire confidentielle. Dame Théodore, votre éternel estimé, jusqu'ici dans ce système pour secret du Halo, qui a le pouvoir d'emmener à lui. Je vais vous dire, Seigneur Inquisiteur. Je suis une poule.
All right, let's hear what they're whispering about you. Hmm? Seek not on firm ground, but in a golden hall suspended in the void. There waits a child without kin, but with a name blind to truth. She draws the brush across the canvas and does not notice that her palette is full not of paint, but of blood. And with each smear, this well does not deplete, but fills and fills up to the brim. One thing is clear. When this among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. He does not know that it is not the answer he must seek, but the question that will draw everything into focus. Will you help him, rogue trader? But mark that sometimes ignorance is sweeter than oblivion. A chained hound chases after glimmers of the aurora, but sparks in the scent of oil confound his nose. A chain trails after him. What will happen if you pick it up? Will you become his master, or merely another beast in the pack of his true lord? The glow of dawn bursts forth from its prison. Dungeon walls cannot contain the dark essence wallowing in the dust. A naive cub pushes his nose into a familiar hand, one that holds death in twisted glass. Cherish it or cast it off as a burden. The sword of change has already been raised. What is one more life to it? I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now... What are you talking about, Lord Captain? Look, Lady Theodora couldn't care less if some eggheads measured my brains or not. It's not about the seal on your forehead, get it? It's about what's in your gut, if it's rotten or not. My gut's stronger than the adamantine on this here ship. And my implants are better than the ones they put in you on your Terra. If they weren't, I wouldn't have lived as long as I have. The little sister is afflicted with her own set of voices, ones that whisper to her about corruption and heresy. The silly girl doesn't realize that if she wants to find the source, she needs to start by looking in her own head. None of the officers knew the Lord Captain well. Not even Abelard, and she was always closer to him than anyone else. She told me from the off that if I ever listened to anything in the warp about her without her permission, I'd be going out through the airlock. I'm not an idiot, so I never It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that she's gone. Lord Captain, forgive me, but it would be... Every Psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it. Well, if the door opens, that means somebody's planning to come in, right? But screw them. They're not coming through. Trust me. I know how to keep my valuable head locked up tight. Only losers who are afraid of their own gift lose control. Or idiots who never figure out what they are before it's too late. Or little kids who want to play around with their shiny new toy. If you don't know the limits of your abilities, or you're always bouncing around in your own head, that's a recipe for disaster. Training, habit, and a little amasec and a couple other things you can get on the lower decks. If you put all those together, it makes things bearable. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm imagining half the voices I hear. You know, when life on board gets a little boring. Better than listening to the living, anyhow. All right, that's what I'm here for after all. So, I'm just going to lean on that door in my head a little more, prick up my ears, and listen to what the warp's got to say about you. If you'll allow it, I can listen right now. All right, let's hear what they're whispering about you. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Coronis Expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best. Oh, I embroidered wall hangings in honor of our national heroes. I did the same thing. There's no such thing as a peaceful life on Lyra. People like me were especially sought after. They'd pick psychers up wherever they found them, buy kids off their parents, even just abduct them. Take me, for instance. I got taken from my street gang. The older kids sold me when they noticed there was something off about me. The ruling dynasties had schools where they trained us and beat us black and blue. And then they packed us off to serve. Some of us held on for a long time, but others didn't last. Not everyone's as smart and talented as me, you know. Some people crossed the line and were out of commission before their time. Theodora von Valancius paid a visit to the ruler I was serving at the time. I don't know what the visit was for, and it's no business of mine anyway. I can still remember the way the voices in my head changed when I looked at her. They were practically screaming. She had so much behind her, and plenty ahead of her too. As I gawped at her, all of a sudden I heard a whisper. A hint, a suggestion, nothing more. But I know the difference between idle chatter and a real threat. I seized my chance and approached Theodora. I managed to whisper a couple of words in her ear before the wardens dragged me away. They beat me and locked me up. No wonder. It wasn't my place to converse with outsiders. And then Theodora's people came for me. They broke down the wall, butchered the guards. Also, I could tell them my warning in full. So I said the rest, but I didn't want to go back to my old life. And so it's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win. But here on the ship is a few times. Not many. And if I think about it, why would I want to? I've got everything I need here. All the whispers I hear are familiar ones. They almost feel like family. And if I want to hear about the nightmares off the ship, I can. After some Amisec. It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. Of course, Lord Captain. You bet I do, Lord Captain. Okay, so we went to Footfall once. Well, I mean, Lord Captain Theodora went to Footfall a lot. But on that occasion, she took me with her for some reason. My day had gotten off to a bad start. My head had been yammering since I woke up, but there was nothing else for it. I had to go. We arrive at the place, and what a place! All the gentlemen and ladies dressed to kill, showing off their encrusted implants, all clustered around little tables. Well, turned out it was a gaming den, and not... So they sat down and the cards were dealt. I'm hovering around like I'm not involved, but I'm keeping my eye on things. And everything in my head keeps getting louder and louder. Anyway, it's a good thing I realized in time that my mind wasn't going haywire over a losing hand, but something else. I made some excuse to drag the Lord Captain up from the table and took her away from that place. And a few minutes later, the room where we'd been... It turned out some wise guy had the same bright idea to bring a pet psyker along with him. One of those ones who just scuttle around in Footfall's underbelly. And the psyker just freaked out, I guess. After all the commotion, people went to see what happened in the room. Of course.
Chaud.
Lord Captain? A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you. As you wish, Lord Captain. As you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know? I am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children express any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, "I used to be" is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I'm still an officer of the Imperium.
I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue traders' personal council. It was a difficult choice for me, but I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force, one who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the Expanse. You could say there was no one among the naval command who was willing to impede the wishes of the rogue trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. The Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy, contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world, and which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue. The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank. What? Lord Captain, any allegations of improper feelings or unsanctioned relations are utterly baseless and bordering on the insulting. Utterly baseless. Of course. Lord Captain,